Hello, my miraculous friend, and welcome to another episode of the Magnify Your Miracles podcast. I'm Reverend Francis Faden, and I'm so grateful that we get to spend this time together, helping you to magnify your miracles. And one of the ways that we magnify our miracles is by tuning in to the frequency of miracles and hearing other people tell their stories. That's why every time we do a Magnify Your Miracles membership call, one of the first things we do is we ask people to share their celebrations, their miracles, and all of that. So I wanted to share my miracle with you. This happened to me a couple of weeks ago. I mentioned it previously when I was talking about divination and signs from the universe, and I talked about that hawk coming. Well, I'm going to tell you what happened after that today. And this miracle, it's been pretty life-changing for me, as I guess all miracles tend to be, and really special and very, very healing. So I hope that you can hear this in the spirit of me sharing something that I experienced on this path of miracles to inspire you. This is not me saying, look at me, look at me. This is me saying, wow, miracles can happen and profound healing is possible. And I'm going to be sharing with you, if you want to work with me, some ways that you can do that. The training that I'm going to be doing, helping you to magnify your intuition. That's going to help you feel more connected and get those messages. And also, I have something else that I've been doing too that I'll tell you about after I tell you about my miracle. But before we get into all that, let's take a deep breath together. Breathe in the energy of expansion. Breathe out anything that you no longer need. And as we do the simple act of bringing our awareness to our breath, we notice that we start to feel the energy shift. And as we do that, we can feel the energy of divine presence. And knowing that whatever you need to hear today to help you move forward in a powerful way is exactly what you're going to hear. Let's take one more deep breath together in gratitude, and we can begin. All right, my friend. Well, welcome once again. If you're new to the podcast, you might be hearing my story for the first time. If you've been hearing it this whole time, if you're a longtime listener, you'll probably be hearing it again. But one of the things that I share with people is this experience I had in 2012 when Mother Mary visited me. That's the way I call it. It was a visitation. And I did not want to be visited by anything even remotely resembling my Catholic upbringing or my childhood. It's like, no thanks. I'd left that far behind. And I was really in a challenging place at that time, going through my dark night of the soul. And I was in prayer while this was happening. And as an energy practitioner, I can sense the energy around me. And I felt the energy in the room shift. And I could feel that there was a being standing behind me. But I kept my eyes closed. I didn't want to look. In my mind's eye, I looked behind me and I could see I was like, oh, that's Mother Mary. And I asked her, why she was there. And she said she wanted me to bring her on to the next event that I was doing, the next message circle that I was doing. This was back in 2012. And I said, okay. And then boom, she was gone just like that. And since then, she's gifted me with the ability that when I pray, I can invoke her presence to be with me, to hear her guidance. I do this when I'm doing meditations. I do this when I'm working with my clients one on one. I can do this in a reading or a channeling session. And it's really that is quite the miracle and the gift. And it's been 12 years. And over these 12 years, my continual prayer has been to become more like what I believe is Mother Mary. And I've come to understand that Mother Mary is what I relate to, but what I'm really connecting with is the field of unconditional love, what some people call the quantum field, right? It's the field of miracles. And I relate to that energy through this being that I call Mother Mary. So for people that don't understand, they think that this is a Catholic thing. It's not. I'm connecting to the universal divine mother principle that I call the field of energy. And every year, my prayer is to become more of an embodiment of that energy, to be more a carrier of that light, to be as much like Mother Mary as I can be. And I've talked a lot about being a channel of the light of Christ, to be able to be that channel. And that's what I've been doing, and doing it to the best of my ability. So I had an experience a couple of weeks ago, and I could feel I have kind of a complicated relationship with the being that I call Jesus, having been raised Catholic. And I remember being little and feeling so close and so connected to him. And then having gone through the energy of the church and realizing just how not Jesus the church was for me and my experience, I kind of let the whole thing go, and I didn't want to have anything to do with any of it. And I started studying all these different things, became an interfaith minister and all that, because I wanted to honor everybody. I didn't want to ever be to anyone what somebody was to me, and telling me that I didn't fit, I wasn't okay, I wasn't the right gender, whatever it was. I was like, I'm never going to be part of anything that discriminates against people in the name of God. So I put all of that aside. So you can imagine my surprise when Mother Mary came, and I was like, this really? Like this, of all the beings that could have come. But that's the being that came to me, and that's the energy that I needed to connect with. And I'm really grateful that I've been able to move beyond the dogma and recognize the energy. So I'll share with you that in this last year, 6 months especially, I've been feeling what I call the presence of Christ making itself known to me in different ways of kind of, knocking on my door. And I could feel that energy getting stronger, but also kind of staying a little bit behind me, like not pushing itself on me. Let me put it that way. Just being respectful, but very much I could feel that energy starting to grow. And I was like, okay, interesting. And as I'm pulling my oracle cards and doing my different things, I'm just noticing that there's this theme around energy healing, that there's this theme around um, Christ light, that there's just this theme that seems to be happening. And I, got ready for Lent. I looked at the energy of Lent. It was going to be on Ash Wednesday, was going to be on Valentine's Day. I was focusing on the energy of love and how can I experience more love, working with Mary Magdalene's. I've shared this with you. And then I had this experience where that hawk came and landed right outside our window. And I knew that that meant something. For me, hawks are messengers. They're like the archangels. They're messengers of spirit. And because I follow in the path of Mother Mary's way of connecting with spirit was through the angels. And for her, she had this experience with Archangel Gabriel, and then said yes and became the most powerful channel of Christ's light, other than Christ himself, that we've ever known, right? So I knew that that hawk meant something, but I didn't know what it meant. And then I could feel this energy growing stronger. And I'm like, there's a presence here. I can feel it, but I kind of didn't want to acknowledge what it was. So 2 weeks ago, actually 3 weeks ago now, 3 weeks ago, I was doing my daily prayers that I do. And I was in a little bit of a funk, not too bad, but I was feeling kind of like, all right, I know there's a change that's coming. I can feel that there's a change coming. And I don't know what this change is exactly. I was a little bit nervous about it. And I was going through my old journal, and I found this beautiful card that I have in my old journal. And this card that I have, I had gotten from this medium that does this really powerful thing. You know what? I'm going to go get it for you. Hang on. I'm going to pause this. I'm going to get it so I can show it to you. Okay, so I have what I wanted to show you. We're going to do a little show and tell today. So a few years ago, I had a reading with a gentleman named Hoyt Robinette, and my mentor, Reverend Jane Howard Feldman, was hosting him, and it was kind of an absent reading. So I wasn't actually physically there. He would sit in a circle, empty chairs, would have markers and pens and different things in the middle, and there would be cards on each seat for each person. He would go into his trance, and he would be channeling and bringing in an energy. Spirit would be using those. He never touched anything. Spirit would use the energy that was in the pens and all that, and would draw a picture on the card and sign the back of the card. So I'm going to show you the back of the card first, and then I'll show you the front of it. And I was blown away when I saw this because, I mean, it's just amazing. But anyway, here's the back of the card. And you can see there's my name. And here's Jesus and my spirit guide, Dr. Renee Fadley, and Chief Sitting Bull and Mother Mary. Mother Mary's name is over here. And you can see that, right? So these are the names. Now, the only name that bled through is my name, but look at this beautiful. This was done by spirit. No person touched this card. Look at that. Looks like a Botticelli painting. So if you're not looking at this on YouTube right now, I highly recommend you go over and you look at this on YouTube. This is Dr. Renee Fadley. She is one of my spirit guides. But on the back of it, you can see it was signed. So I looked at this and I was like, Jesus signed my card. And I was in a mood that day. And I was like, Jesus signed my card. That means he's one of my spirit guides. He's on my team. So I said this prayer to him and I said, all right, Jesus, if you want me to be doing something different, if you want me to be doing healing work, if you want me to work with you, you need to make this really clear to me because I don't know how to do that, and I just feel personally a little nervous about using the J name just because there are a lot of people who call themselves Christian that, in my opinion, are not Christian at all. And they scare me, to be honest. They're very, very scary people that say nasty things. And I didn't want to have anything to do with any of that. So I said this prayer to him and I said, all right, you got to let me know what's going on. So then, as would happen, the next day, I think that was Saturday that I'd said that prayer. Sunday morning, I'd gotten myself a new Apple pod speaker, a little mini pod, and I was getting it set up in my meditation room because my old speaker had died. And you get it hooked up with your phone. So I'm trying to get it hooked up and it needs to do an update and all this stuff. So I'm letting it do its thing. And I'm looking for the meditation music that I like to do in the morning. And nothing's coming up. Nothing's coming up. Nothing's coming up. I'm like, what is going on? The only thing I see on my phone is the play sign, that triangle, the little play button. No words, no anything. I'm like, well, all right, I guess maybe let me just hit play. So I hit play on my phone, and out of my speaker comes the voice of Ron Roth, the late Ron Roth. Ron Roth passed in 2009. And then all of a sudden it says on my phone, track 2 from his CD, Holy Spirit, the unbounded energy of spirit or something like that. Holy Spirit, track 2. And Ron Roth's voice comes booming out of my speaker saying, if you're not clear what God's will is for you, you need to connect with the Holy Spirit and you need to get, align yourself in prayer. And it goes on and on and on. I'm like, whoa, Ron Roth is speaking to me. I used to love Ron Roth. And so here's the miracle, you guys. Now, Ron Roth, for those of you who don't know, he had been a Catholic priest for 25 years, and he wanted to be able to heal like Jesus. And he took it very seriously. And he started doing these healing events where people would come up and he would touch them. He would channel that energy. And he's really funny the way he talks about it. He was probably more surprised than anybody that he actually could do it. And people would have these amazing healings happening. So here is this guy who did this, talking to me about connect with the Holy Spirit. And then Ron Roth, he left the church, and because his energy was so much bigger than any religion could be. And here he is talking to me and saying, connect with the Holy Spirit. And I know how connected he is with the Christ vibration. I was like, oh my God, this is a message. So then here's the thing. I look on my phone and I'm like, I didn't even remember having this CD. I don't remember putting it on my phone. So I look in my phone and I'm looking at my playlist and I'm looking at my artists and I'm looking in I'm looking in all the places something could be. It's not in my phone. The track that's playing on my mini pod, my speaker, that can only be doing something if it's connected to something, nothing. It's not. So I'm like, okay, so it's not on my phone. Let me look at my iPad. So look on my iPad, go through the same thing, nothing. Look at my iPod. That's the last place. I'm like, is it on my iPod? Did I forget that I had it there? Nope. The thing that was playing on my iPod, you know where it is? It was on my computer. It's on my computer, and my computer was off. My computer was off. There's no way that that speaker could have connected with my computer. My computer was off. So here is the voice of Ron Roth talking to me. And just right after me saying this prayer, here is the answer. If you want to know God's will for you, if you want to know how to do it, you connect with the Holy Spirit. And I started laughing and I was like, Jesus, is this you talking to me? Because if it is, I think this is really funny. So I've been pulling cards every day for Lent, and I'm pulling my cards. And I pulled one card that said Wondrous Universe. It's like, are you seeing unusual signs for the universe? I was like, yes, I am. And remember, I had just had that hawk visit me, right? Giving me a heads up saying, recognize that there's an energy that's coming. I pulled this card that says that. I pulled the next card and I got the card of, I think it was the card of St. Jude, which is all about miracles. And then I pull the third card, and it's a card that I have never seen before. Purple dyed agate, right? On the one side, it has a message from the crystal. And on the other side, it's the card of Jesus. I've never gotten this card before. And I was like, okay, that's confirmation. Now, previous to this, I had gotten some cards I'm going to share with you. I got this card, the Pool of Christ Light. This is the one I got at the beginning of February, telling me to be a channel of open your heart and spread unconditional love. Be a channel of unconditional love. I've gotten this next card, Energy Healing. Every time I've pulled over the last 6 months, I've pulled this like 8 times in a row. I just pulled it this week as well. Energy healing, that I'm supposed to be doing energy healing, which I was like, but I'm already doing energy healing. I always do energy healing. So I said, okay, you're wanting me to embrace this energy. I'm going to embrace this energy. So I want to share with you that I'm offering something. If you go to my website, francisfaden.com/healing, that I'm doing something I'm calling Holy Spirit's healing, divine light healing, where I'm channeling both Mother Mary and Jesus, the masculine and the feminine Christ. That's how I hold them, as well as calling in every other healing being that I know of that I'm connected to, like St. Padre Pio, St. Francis of Assisi, Paramahansa Yogananda, St. Rita of Kasha, Mary Magdalene, St. Hildegard of Bingen, just St. Anthony of Padua, all the beings that I know that are these holy beings who have been able to do healing, many of whom have done things like raise people from the dead. So there's at least 4 of them I can think of right off the top of my head that while they were alive, they actually helped people come back to life. Amazing. So I said yes to doing this. I did my first one on March 7th, and I was shaking in my boots when I did it. But I shared this story, and I shared about my connection with Christ. And one of the things I'm going to share with you is this connection that I've actually had my whole life. And again, I'm the one that kind of pushed it away. But I had another really remarkable experience. And I want to share this with you. This happened when I was like 20 years old, 2021. Again, I was going through this exploration, trying to understand all this metaphysical stuff. And I had gone with my sister and my sister-in-law to a spiritualist church. Spiritualists are the ones that talk to people on the other side. They believe in the continuity of life. And there was a channeler there, a medium there, who was able to do something that was called a silk precipitation, that they're able to, through ectoplasm or something like that. There's a piece of silk that you had on your lap, and through this ectoplasm, there would be like blobs on your silk, and it acted almost like photography paper. And there would be these faces of people on the other side. It sounds really bizarre, but I'm going to show you in just a second. So when I was young, I did one of these things purely out of curiosity, like, let's see what happens. And how it would work is we would sit in this circle, and the lights would go down, and we each had a piece of like construction paper and a rectangle of silk, just plain silk. It's not treated with anything, it's just plain silk. Light goes down, the person does their thing as a medium, brings through whatever energy they're going to bring through. And when we're all done, the lights go up and you look down and you see what happens. So it's kind of like being in a cosmic dark room. And most people have one or two kind of blobs on their silk. And in the middle of the circle, there are these little faces of people. And then the fun part is, who are these people? Who are the people on the other side who are coming to say hi to you, right? So I look down on mine and I'm going to share it with you. I look down on my silk precipitation, and mine, here it is in the shape of a cross. Now, to this day, I still don't know who these people are, but I'm the only one that got one in the shape of a cross. So I've been on this path and being guided with this energy for quite a long time. And I'm sharing it with you to say, I'm no longer afraid of it. I'm no longer afraid to own my connection with Christ. I'm no longer afraid to, I'm not going to hesitate anymore about talking about him, even if it makes people nervous. And, this is the card I keep picking: open your heart to love, the Jesus card. But here's what I want to share with you. For those of you who are like, well, wait a minute, what about the divine feminine? And somebody even said to me, what does Mother Mary think about the fact that, is she okay with this? As if it's going to cause a problem. You know what Mother Mary said to me? Mother Mary said, you've been praying for this the whole time. You've been praying to be like me. You've been praying to be a channel of Christ light. And now you are. And now I'm going to cry because I'm like, and now you are. So just to be clear to everybody, I'm not talking about the personality. I'm not talking about the man who wore sandals 2,000 years ago. I'm not talking about the personality. I'm talking about the masculine energy that's the perfect complement to the feminine energy, the divine masculine and the divine feminine. I've really been leaning into that divine feminine because I think it's what we need so much on the planet. But at the same time, we also need healthy divine masculine, and we don't have a lot of examples of that. So I went ahead and I did my first Holy Spirit's Divine Light healing on the 7th. And I asked people for feedback. And they gave me feedback about what happened. Miracles happened on this call. One of the things that happened is there was a woman who was struggling with food addiction. And she said, this was the most powerful thing I've ever experienced. And she said, I could feel the presence of everybody there. I was having tingling going on in my body. And she said to me, and she said this in an email, she said, ever since then, I've not had the compulsion to be eating in that kind of compulsive, addictive way. She also has pain and arthritis in her knees. She's like, I've been pain-free. I haven't had any arthritis pain from being on that call one time. Somebody else said to me, who's been having problems, she lost her voice. And apparently one side of her voice box is paralyzed or something. And she said, I could feel it immediately. I felt like I was being worked on. And she said, and during the call, my throat felt clear and it didn't feel tight for the time that we were on the call. Another person said to me, I mean, there's so many of them, but I just want to share some with you because I want you to know that this is possible for you. And this isn't about me personally. My job is to create the space so that when you need to have happen, happens for you. Somebody else said, I felt tingling on my right side the whole time. And while you were doing the meditation, I got clear, like, this is what I need to heal. I need to focus on this. And that's what a lot of people said, like the clarity came. They felt super clear. A lot of it was emotional healing, feeling that energy of unconditional love, feeling that presence. So this is a big piece of what I'm going to be doing. If you want to know when the next one's going to be, when I'm recording this in March of 2024. I am going to be doing one on March 25th, which is the full moon eclipse. And that is going to be a powerful day for healing. Full moon eclipse, Feast of the Annunciation, Monday of Holy Week. Again, I'm going to be calling in Mother Mary, going to be calling in Jesus, going to be calling everybody that I know, Padre Pio, St. Francis of Assisi, Mary Magdalene, everybody that I know. And you call in your team as well, and miracles can happen for you. Whether you need a physical miracle, a mental, emotional miracle, a spiritual miracle, a miracle in your finances, who knows what miracle you need. But whatever it is that you need, tapping into the highest frequency that you can tap into is really the secret to the whole thing. You know, I always say that knowing that your miracle is already here, that's the first step. But the next step is to tap in and get into the highest frequency that you possibly can, as often as you can. If we could live in that high frequency all the time, we would just be having miracles happening all the time. We wouldn't even call it a miracle. It would just be, this is my life. This is just my life. This is just how I am, right? So if you'd like to join me, you can go to francisfaden.com/healing. If you're hearing this after March 25th of 2024, still go to francisfaden.com/healing. And the next one, I'm just going to be posting it on that page whenever I do it, whether I'm doing it once a month or twice a month, I'm not sure exactly yet, but I want to give as many people as possible the opportunity to be in that energy as much as you possibly can. This is why I'm teaching the Magnify Your Intuition program, because I want to teach you how to connect to that highest frequency consistently. And when you do that, you're going to get your downloads. You're going to get everything that you need to guide you on your next steps. So again, if you'd like to join me for that training, you can go to francisfaden.com/training. So don't want to confuse you. The healing is for the channeling event. But if you want to work with me and get trained, you can go to the training page and learn about that. We do start in April of 2024, and I would love to have you join us. So this is what my life is looking like these days, my friends. These are the kinds of miracles that are happening. And here's the thing, when I felt that energy and that thing with that speaker, I also felt the presence behind me, just like I had with Mother Mary. The difference this time is that I felt this warmth on my back, and I could feel that healing energy on my back. And the difference this time than the first time I had my experience with Mother Mary is that it hasn't left me. That energy has been with me this whole time. I can feel it right now. Even as I bring my awareness to my back, I'm like, oh, he's right here. That energy is right here. And I'm so grateful and humble to be able to say, it is my great privilege to make this energy available to you as well. And if you would like to experience it, please go over to my website. I'll put some links down in the show notes so that you can see where it is. But as I said, francisfaden.com/healing. Give yourself the gift of being in the energy of unconditional love, the masculine and feminine energy of unconditional love, which is the most healing energy in the universe. It is the healing energy of the universe, and it is the energy through which everything manifests. Thank you so much, my friend, for listening to my miracle story. I hope that it inspired you, and I hope to see you in the field of unconditional love. Bye-bye.